our economy is being engineered to reduce the middle class and replace it with a perpetually aggrieved, dependent class. Now, there are plenty of examples of this out there today. We're going to focus on one specific example, critical race theory. And we're not just going to talk about the fact, because there are a lot of people out there complaining about this being put into schools, our children being inculcated with this critical race theory mindset, which is extremely divisive. Okay, and I don't know how anyone expects to live in a country like America unless you're able to work with people who may not have the same complexion as you, may not have the same sexual preference as you. This is supposed to be a melting pot. And as such, I personally believe critical race theory does not have a place in our national dialogue, especially in our school systems, where you have a limited amount of time each day to instill children with the tools that they need to really go out here in the global economy of the 21st century and be competitive. So we are actually building a dependent class in that we are wasting time on a dubious theory and teaching it to children as if it were fact. Now, if that wasn't enough, can you believe that Ralph Northam, the governor of Virginia, yes, that one, the guy that dressed up in blackface, or the outfit of the, I don't know if you can say this on YouTube, so it's the old time racist group. They used to wear the hoods and stuff. This is the guy that dressed up in one of those outfits. He won't tell us which, but he does say one of them was him. Okay. And so Ralph Northam is out there championing critical race theory. And he's doing this, I bet you, if he has kids or grandkids, they're probably in an exclusive school and they're learning another type of theory that we're going to go over, which is what should be in our school curriculum instead of critical race theory. But let's take a look at this article from the Loudoun Times-Mirror down there in Virginia. And I'll link to this in the description. But this is a prime example. Critical race theory is a prime example of how we are ignoring the real educational value that our children need. And we're substituting it with just more divisiveness, okay? You're not going to make any money off of critical race theory unless you're selling books about it, which the Virginia school system and others are buying. So here we go. In an interview published Monday by the New York Times, Governor Ralph Northam denounced the actions and rhetoric of a Loudoun County group opposed to critical race theory. Critical race theory is a dog whistle that the Republicans are using to frighten people, Northam told political reporter Asted Herndon. A group of Loudoun County public school parents and community members have spent several months criticizing the school system for allegedly adopting critical race theory in its curriculum, despite Superintendent Scott Ziegler's repeated denials. The group has further accused Loudoun County Public Schools of incorporating critical race theory under the veneer of its culturally responsive framework. A document drafted in 2020 after the school system endured a series of race-related controversies. Kind of like the race-related controversy where their governor dressed up in blackface. Okay? And now he's going to lecture people about race relations. The American Bar Association defines critical race theory as the understanding that race is, quote, socially constructed and socially significant, unquote, and that, quote, racism is a normal feature of society and embedded within systems and institutions. Okay, so that's what the American Bar Association is saying. Race and equity have been a major part of Northam's platform and public image since 2019, when he admitted to having worn blackface decades ago. Now, critical race theory, again, is a divisive curriculum. It is extremely subjective. And while I am all for children developing critical thinking skills, how much pushback do you think the school systems that are teaching this are going to take from kids. What if a kid, like in high school, stands up and says, "Hey, no, you know what? I don't agree with that, and here's why." Do you think they're going to get, a good grade in that class? Let's dispense with this and teach children a theory that they can actually apply when they go out and try to compete in the global economy. Let's replace critical race theory with economic theory. Let's build a whole curriculum around that. Get rid of trigonometry. They can take it in college if they're intent on becoming an engineer, fine. But all of this stuff that's being pushed down the throats of our children in the limited amount of time they have in the school day is social engineering. It is economic engineering, because if children cannot come out and compete effectively in the global economy, then they're going to become a part of the dependent class, the dependent economic class, which is subject to universal basic incomes, welfare, underemployment, unemployment, and things of that nature. So while we're moving further and further into a century where we're going to be doing things like landing on Mars, we've just finished decoding the entire human genome. We've got robotics, artificial intelligence, all types of incredible advancements in every aspect of the economy. Where does critical race theory fit into that? How does that make your child competitive in this global landscape? It doesn't. They need a foundation to understand how economics works. And economic theory is a behavioral study to a large extent, because it really delves into the human behavior of seeking the highest value for the lowest cost. And that breaks down oftentimes into an economic strata, but not always. There are other aspects of life where we do that, where we seek the highest value at the lowest cost. So if you want to get into behavioral studies, then economic theory is also a great place to start. So that's what we should be doing. If your child is currently in a school system that is pushing critical race theory, find out if they are also teaching or injecting into the curriculum hardcore economic theory or some sort of macroeconomics study. Because if they're not, then they need to get rid of the time it takes for them to do critical race theory curriculum. They need to get rid of that, and they need to again put in place something that is going to actually help that child become competitive against his Chinese counterpart, his Eastern European counterpart, his Indian counterpart. And I can guarantee you those school systems are not fooling themselves. They are not engaging in anything like critical race theory. They're engaged in hardcore math, science, philosophy, the things that are going to continue to make their country and their people competitive. Talk to you soon.